All right, everybody. We are just going to go through the line judge training that everyone does need to do, even if you are a YDT player or on the 12s or 14s teams. This quick video will just kind of go over what the expectations are for being a line judge. Now, overall, as a line judge, you are going to be the person that is going to be standing in the corners. So our R1, that's our up official or our up ref. Typically, that is going to be your coaches. Okay, so your head coach or your assistant coach will be at the R1 level. There's another training that everyone will have to do for the R2. That's just essentially someone that's going to be mirroring and mimicking what your R1 is doing. And then for line judging. So we've got one line judge over in one corner and the other line judge over in the other corner. Now, if you by chance don't know who the referee is, maybe it is somebody else, make sure that you just go in and introduce yourself to the referee. If you are at a place that hires out referees that aren't your coaches, introduce yourself, and then they'll also kind of tell you about what some of those expectations are that they might have. The other really big thing is that you need to make sure that you are watching all of these lines and not the ball. A lot of times people just watch the volleyball instead of the line, and then our brain can't really see what's going on here. So you got to make sure that you're watching the line and not the ball, because it's your job to help out the referees and say, oh, is this ball inbounds or is this ball out of bounds when it hits the ground? And you need to make sure that you're also signaling every single call. So if you notice that it's in, maybe over in this area here, and it's really, really easy to see, that's okay. I still want you to make sure that you are calling that ball in for the refs. It also helps you just kind of stay engaged in the match as well. Now, there's going to be some times that if you're a line judge and the player's kind of running after the ball and you are getting close to them, just make sure that you get out of the way so you're not interfering with the play at all. You can just step off to the side, and then come right back into your corner there when you are going in line judging. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, one last thing, when you are line judging and that ball lands right on the line, that is going to be in. So make sure that you call that ball in. If it's even touching a little bit of the line, that is always going to be an in call. Now, when we are signaling these things, a lot of times we're not going to be having flags for that. Your coaches can help you out if there are flags, but this call for an inbounds, your hands are going to be extended out in front of you, signaling that that ball is in. Now, if it is out of bounds, or we'll learn about an antenna violation in a second here. If it's out of bounds, both of your hands, your palms are going to be facing you, your face, and you're going to hold those elbows up nice and high, signaling that it is out of bounds. So that's what our out of bounds call is going to be going in and looking like. Now, there's going to be times that the ball hits the antenna. So all of our courts are going to have antennas over on the net by the R2 and by the R1 over here. Now, if that ball crosses out of bounds, so if my little cursor is the volleyball, we'll say if it goes out of bounds by chance and back in, that is still on the outside of the antenna, and that is going to be out. Or if it goes over the top of the antenna, that is going to be considered an out ball. So you need to make sure that you are calling that with your hands high up in the air and your palms facing towards you. If the ball hits the antenna at all, you need to be either waving your flag or pointing to the antenna and saying, hey, this ball is out of bounds, and signaling that to our refs. Now, there's going to be a time, and this is not typically going to be at the YDT or 12s level where you can kind of move up and serve, but at the 14s level, if as the server steps over this line the moment that they're contacting that ball, that is going to be considered a foot fault. So you need to make sure that you point to the line and then signal that out of bounds call as well, and get the attention of the referee. You maybe need to kind of wave your hand or wave the flag, whatever that case may be. You got to make sure that they know that there was a foot fault. And they'll also be watching those things too, but it's your job to make those signals. So if there is a line violation, you're going to look like step number 5 here. You're pointing to that line, maybe waving that hand so the ref can see. And then this out of bounds violation again. Make sure that if that ball hits the antenna, you're going to point to the antenna and then also show that it was out of bounds. Now, there's also going to be some times, not necessarily at the youth development level, that we're going to have blockers and they might touch that volleyball. And it's important that you, as the line judge, are helping out those refs when there is a touch off the block. So you need to be making sure there's a lot of things to pay attention to. You need to be making sure that you're watching if that individual blocker or those blockers touch that volleyball and it lands out. And you need to make sure that you signal that it was out of bounds if it touched their hands and went out of bounds. Okay? On their side of the net or on the opposite side of the net. So again, paying attention to those lines, paying attention to those touches is really, really important. And then again, you would just go in and signal here that there is a touch. So one hand is just going to kind of scrape the other hand and show that there was a touch there. That's what it would go in and look like. Now, where to stand. This is something very important and some other key things. You want to make sure that you're not in the court, of course, but you are just going to be right on this edge, right on that corner. You don't want to be too far away because that's going to alter what you can see. So make sure that you stay out of the court, but close enough so you can see both of those lines just right on the corner there, on whatever side that you are going to be on. Now, the other thing we got to remember too is that when we are line judging, we're really, really important in the game. So we cannot have any cell phones if you have those. If you're listening to music, no AirPods, anything like that, that needs to be put away. And your other teammates, you want to make sure that you're not distracting the line judges because they have a really important job that they need to do. So some other really important things here. The referee and the refs are looking at you to help. You are helping this match run smoothly. So it's really important that you are calling everything, that you are staying focused and staying in the match when we are going through all of these things. You want to make sure that you're also giving strong signals. So you are not being small. You have, when that ball is in, you're really pointing that that ball is in. If you need to get their attention, you got to make sure that you're waving nice and big to that referee, calling that ball nice and big when it's out of bounds with your arms out and not close to your body, and so on and so forth. You want to make sure that you give strong signals. And also make sure that you have eye contact with the referee when you are making those signals, so they can see that you know what's going on and that they are paying attention to what your call was. And sometimes the referee is going to overrule you. Maybe they saw something different on when they were up on the stand. That's okay. Don't worry about it. They are that main adult there, so it's really important that they are able to make those calls as well. Now, as we go through the play dates and the different tournaments that we have here, everyone is going to be doing every type of job. So if you have questions on these things, make sure that you go in and talk to your coaches and just kind of ask them for some clarifying questions, and they will be able to help you out absolutely.